Welcome to the April 2024 edition of the Tough Love Arena State of the Game stream. I will be your host tonight, M. Paul Weeks, one of the co-creators of Tough Love Arena. And for the next 20 to 80 minutes, you will learn all about the state of the game. What have we been doing recently? How's the game filling out right now? And what do you have as a player or fan to look forward to in the near to long-term future? We got some fun announcements and some cool stuff to show off today. So thank you for joining me. If you're watching this on YouTube, hello YouTube. And let's jump into it. If you ever want to catch this live, we do this the first Tuesday of every month. Moving on. I like to start off with the past. What did we do since the last state of the game in early April? So garlic progress. Amy has been grinding away on garlic. As you can probably notice, these skates are pretty complicated. So garlic is probably going to be the most work-intensive character of any of the cast. But they've been working through on a bunch of different moves that you can see here. And I'm so excited for them to get all their little gear. As for me, as for recent dev work, I spent the first solid week of April just running the April Fool's event and then doing the cleanup. We did a permanent rehost as we usually do, and then as per some feedback, I went back and made sure that I included the original mod files, formatted with comments, everything else. So it's actually useful as a record if you want to go back and reference it. And technically within the last month, as of today, I finished distributing all the skins. Everyone got prizes that they should have gotten, and I shared the feedback from you all with the mod team. So modder team for this event, not Discord mods. So thank you to the handful of you that filled out the feedback form. Hopefully they get something useful out of it. I also expanded the search range. This was a commonly requested feature. So for those who don't know, the search system, the actual points on your account are standard ELO, but the way it match makes is it has two ranges, similar opponents and stronger opponents. And the idea is if we are both similar opponents, then the equation takes my score and adds 150, now 200. And if your score is within that window, then it's a match. If either of us have that relationship, where the opponent is inside our window, where we're looking up. So stronger than opponents used to just look really far up, and it could catch anyone at that score. But as stratification has happened, as some of our top players have gotten to pretty high MMRs, and it's hard to find a match, now they'll be able to find those people looking for stronger opponents because I just expanded the range to functionally infinite. Small modding fix. Now you have the ability to control start meter that affects every round. Other miscellaneous quality of life fixes. Shoutouts to Shiggy, who wrote up a bunch of them for me. So I plan to get through them more later, but we got started. And the Boss Rice moveset is almost complete. If you were here last week for the stream, we have settled into a very interesting place of having them as a vortex character. They can really easily get a close knockdown, and then they have a really far range grab. It's pretty nasty. So that's my number one development focus right now is finishing Boss Rice, getting them onto that versus menu alongside Mystery Meat and Secret Spice, and then once that's in the tank, going back to arcade mode. But that's that's jumping ahead. First, I'm gonna take a sip. And now let's talk about the present. What is the state of the game? As for character balance, no balance changes planned at this time. I'm currently satisfied. We'll look at the survey at the end of the slides. That used to be the beginning, but I think it robbed too much momentum. We'll look at the survey and see if our players disagree with me. But right now, I don't think there's any big issues. And I don't have any really exciting change to introduce to a character. So if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I'm just gonna stay focused on other stuff. But that's where we're at right now. I also want to shout out, put it in here for the record, there is a big known issue, which is that the Mac build is out of date. Essentially, something happened in late April where the pipeline for mech builds just don't work anymore. I was using this tool that was using a tool that was using a tool. This house of cards was all built on this one way of authorizing, of like signing to say that like I developed this app. Signing the app for the App Store to approve and, you know, make sure it was legit and not a virus. And that tool that I was using, that way of doing it, was apparently an older way that Apple no longer supports. So it's not even as simple as like I just need to fix that part, because that tool, or the tool built on top of that tool, and the tool built on top of that tool that I'm using, hasn't been updated in 4 years. So I kind of need to start from scratch in terms of getting Mac builds into our pipeline. So I want to do it, and you know, people have purchased the game on Steam to play on Mac, and I'm very conscious of that. So I wanted to say it here. I'm sorry. And the problem is that you can play the game. You can play the game as it existed in early April, but because there have been balance changes, even if I think the balance change might have just been like switching to April Fools and back, you can't play cross versions anymore. Normally, if I just push a little patch that like adds something to a menu, if you haven't refreshed the page yet, you can still play with people on the new patch. But this is a breaking change. So right now, Mac desktop app doesn't work. Doesn't work online. I know about it. I'm very aware of it. But it's also like a huge task. So I misspoke earlier. My number one priority is finishing Rice, because I just want to get that out there, get some feedback, and give people a fun new toy. And then my priority will probably be fixing the Mac before Arcade. But we'll see. So now on a more positive, fun topic. Oh yes, Siren. Siren's way less common than it used to be. This new place is pretty low on Siren. So that was, you know, quite the cameo. Okay. Future. What do we have coming up? What do you have coming up to look forward to? So first, to say it again, although we've announced this a few times before, just want to make sure everyone knows, TLA is going to be at Combo Breaker. It's going to be me and probably some community people if they're around to help out. Maybe Phil, maybe some other people. If you are local to Illinois, if you're in the Midwest, I strongly recommend you check it out. It's my favorite event after EVO. It's just a ton of fun. There's a lot of stuff to do. And we're going to be there with, I paid extra to have 2 tables side by side, so that I'll have a TLA table with 2 setups and merch, and I'll have a new game table with 1 to 2 setups, pending how much equipment I can afford and bring in time. There will also be a TLA side tournament, but just for TLA. New game is not ready for tournaments. And we will have the usual TLA merch. I've got more stickers coming in the mail now because we sold out on Garlic and Pork. And I got a button machine to make more buttons. So I got to do that in the next 2 weeks. Wish me luck. So I'm super excited for this event. I got to make sure I don't get sick. It's only in like 3 weeks, and it's going to be a ton of fun. It always is. I love Combo Breaker. And also, they increasingly are having like more and more indie devs at these things. So if you're going, look forward to that. Next, I'm super excited to announce that we will be having a Summer tournament like last year, except this time we have new skins. Clap, 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 clap. Clap, 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 clap. And I just, made up this. I was like, what's the most summery picture I can think of for TLA? And it was putting shades on Noodle. So Amy has plans for new summer versions of the characters to round out our 4 seasons of birthday, photorealistic, summer, and spooky. And they're feeling pretty good about having it finished in time for the event. So this will complete our trifecta. Of course, Steam will immediately have access. Steam purchasers will immediately have access to all the skins. Top 8 will get all 6 skins. If you just for entering the tournament, you get to claim 1. So nothing to show yet, and I'll probably set up a Matcherino, but I haven't gotten around to it yet. I just picked the date this morning. So if you want to save the date, It's the usual TLG time, Friday, although I start at 7 instead of 6:30. And the challenge is live right now if you want to go register. Cool. Yeah. Super excited. A little update on this. I think I mentioned it in the past, but I am continuing to work with Wonderville to try and make a permanent Tough Love Arena exclusive cab that just runs Tough Love Arena all the time. Witten says, Paul, you are too quiet. Okay, now I'll move the mic a little bit closer to me. Okay. Well, thank you, Shiggy. Now I'll move it back. So we went from the Amy Designs, now we have a CAD design. They're going to start cutting wood soon. So I know this doesn't apply to a lot of people. You know, this is only like local to New York will be able to really experience this thing, but I'm just excited to share progress. And it's cool. If it turns out well, if it's really popular, maybe we'll make more. Upcoming dev work. So what I'm planning to tackle in the next month when I'm not busy with Combo Breaker is finishing up Boss Rice as I discussed, fixing the Mac deploy, and make arcade mode. See, right? I had the priorities right here. I just forgot writing this slide a week ago. Oh yes, make arcade work for arcade. Well now, as Kerbo King points out in chat, there is the like event mode, which works decently well, I think, for events for like Combo Breaker, where it's pretty, you know, baby-proofed. Is it 4 buttons? Yes, he said. That's holes for joystick, and then throw, light, heavy, special. And then I want to put like a big reset button at the top middle. So this is what I'm talking about. I want to have the classic. There's our good friend the train. I want to have the classic fighting game arcade setup where just you press anything to play, and if you want to play multiplayer, then player 2 just interrupts arcade mode. So you do kind of have to have a functioning arcade mode first. But then just in case we're already in a match and you change your mind, you want to pick a different character, then I want to have one big reset button in the middle that just pops you back out to the main menu. So, as in the splash screen. No menus, just brain dead, start the game, play with your friend, winner stays on, here comes a new challenger, exactly. So, I think there's still a time and place for event mode. It's nice having the options of other menus and going into training room and whatever. Yeah, that's arcade mode for arcade mode. Yes, Ethan! The joysticks will only go left and right. They're gonna build them in a way that they're locked in. I'm actually really excited about that. Thank you for bringing that up. Because people would always get confused. They'd be like, well, why isn't up doing anything? Well, now I can physically tell you that up doesn't do anything. Up is illegal. Anyways, finally moving on to the next slide. I thought I would show this. I try not to make premature announcements, so I'm going to very heavily caveat that some of these are tentative. But this is the currently planned 2024 event calendar for MPAL Games, aka the umbrella I've created for Tough Love Arena and the new game. So the bold is confirmed. Like, money has been exchanged, flights have been booked, that sort of stuff. I will be there. And tentative is either some combination of I'm in early talks or it's just something I want to check out, but, you know, I don't know how competitive the process is. It's just not locked in. So if you want to take a look at this, I know people have looked on longingly in the past because we usually stick to, most of the events are just like Combo Breaker, Vegas, and New York stuff. But there's 2 events in Connecticut, and there's one I might go to in North Carolina because I've got a friend running it. And some of these will be like, you know, booths. Some of these might be a tournament. Some of these might be something else. Anime NYC, I'm going to try and maybe get a panel there like I did at SakuraCon talking about game design. So not sure exactly what the form of the attendance will look like, but this is my goal. These are the events I'm trying to hit this year. Let's hop on over to the survey. Enhance. TLA is fun. TLA is easy to learn basics. TLA has pretty good depth. Likely to retain. Likely to recommend to news. Still likely to recommend to experienced. All good, standard looking graphs. Noodle is... No one thinks Noodle is 1 or 5, but definitely above average. Pretty strong. Definitely above average fun. This is, Wait, am I... Did Frenzy get deleted or something? Sorry. I'm not trying to, like, pick on people's feedback. This is why I don't have the names on them. But yeah, let's look through these. Another attacking move to increase his combos. I think Noodle already has plenty of combos. People have complaints about Noodle combos being too long. Spamming Noodles. I assume this means like soup. Spamming soup to force dumb hitbox interactions is incredibly frustrating. I would nerf the cooldown on soup activations. I can understand the idea of the character, but compared to all the others in the game, Noodle is my least favorite to play against by a huge margin. That's interesting. I'm sorry they feel that way. The range is too high. Quieter voice. Oh, that's an interesting one I haven't seen. They don't like the... Shrink that jumps startup hurt box still deceptively big and leads to unnecessary clippings. That's an interesting one. Now that might just be an oversight. I would think about that. I'd want to take a closer look at that. Thank you for this one. Yes, Trample is very fun. Nerf the range of soup. Unfortunately, no. Needles of beast, let them cook as is. I'm going to agree with the last person who spoke to me. Rice. In terms of balance, almost dead even. Fun? Above average. I feel like this is an uncommon rice graph. So I'm happy to see this, I guess. What happened? Please add anti-air SWAT combos or re-add SWAT's air invul. My plan right now with SWAT is that it still has value as this like jump distance agnostic anti-air. It can grab someone from full screen. It will beat any jump cancel. There's no nuance to it. But I don't want it to be like just like trivial of I can do it last minute and press it. So I still think it's important that it doesn't have invuln. You still do have to react. And yeah, with meter you can convert it to like really good damage. But when it had invuln, it was just like a little bit too much better than 5L. Now with 5L actually having faster startup than SWAT and potentially more damage or better conversions, I'm happy with where it is right now. Remove the teleport. You'll have to be more specific on which one, but probably not. I would nerf for teleportation mostly because people just spam the teleportation and then use the grab move, which is just annoying. Can Rice cancel teleport into throw? Is that something I added or did I dream that? Okay. Well, like just canceling the recovery a little bit. Is that something I actually added? Or was this like a left on the cutting room floor or was on the boss character or something? Normal teleport can. Okay. Okay. Right. Specifically, it was like the Noodle matchup. I was trying to give something... because I think it is still it's faster startup to teleport throw than to like teleport, finish, and then go for a white. So the spirit was that like if Noodle's doing soup shit, you can zoop in and grab him. It's fake, but it feels real. Okay, cool. The thing I would tell this player about teleport is just if they're doing it in neutral, it's always going to go to the same predictable place. I very much was intentional. You did add it. It's very funny. Thank you, table. It's very intentional why teleport always goes a fixed distance and forward. It's specifically to try to avoid the situation where a character is like teleporting and you have to guess where they're going to end up. Same thing with sneak being reliable. And also it goes forward so that you can't run away with it. You can't just like spam it. If you spam it, you're going to wind up in their face and you're going to get punched. So I'm very cognizant of these type of issues that teleports can have. If you position yourself just right, you can combo drill into slap. Drill is the jump cancel that comes out faster, but usually you can't combo off of it. I find this easiest to do by pushing the enemy into the right corner and positioning yourself between the phone shopping cart and the orange thing on the supermarket map. That is very charming, that you use that to position. Is this the secret combo move? So what you are discovering is what's called a meaty. Definitely check this out on like the fighting game glossary later. I think it's even a Twitch command, !glossary. But immediate is the idea of if I hit you with this punch, then I'm gonna recover, 2 frames before you. But the punch doesn't last exactly 1 frame. It's just it usually makes contact on the first frame. But if you get hit by the later half of the punch, then you start your stun at a later point, but I still have the same amount of total recovery. And now what was +2 becomes +4. So that is what's happening intentionally with a drill. Specifically, and this is a dynamic in dive kicks in many games, it's going to do a fixed amount of hit stun, and if it hits you higher up on your head, then they have more time to travel to the ground, more time, which means you're going to recover faster than if they hit you like on your toes. So I very intentionally made sure that if you meated this, you could go in meeting either because they're getting up into it or meaty because of distance in a forward moving move like this, like a dive kick. I very intentionally meant that you could combo into your light attack. Your fastest attack is Rice. But that it would not be like a consistent thing, and that definitely wouldn't work at point blank. So yes, as Shiggy says, it's cool that you found it. That's what it's there for you to find. I buff damage off metered SWAT conversions to Onion's level of damage. No, I'm good. Same as Noodles. Sure, I don't play Rice. I feel like Rice needs some air invulnerability back for some of their moves. Nah. Shrink that jump start hair back, so same issue as Noodle. Good feedback, thank you. Make teleport have less startup and less end lag. No, that's dangerous, given all the comments talking about how teleport's abusive. Need to see more folks doing Microwalk 5L against 5HH6S. That's the quick port. So, makes sense. Beef. Beef is strong. Beef is fun. Nerf the ability to spam. I assume they mean Lemon. Lemon is designed to have a very long startup, so you can jump over it. I would nerf his ball move because it's too powerful, currently having long range and short range moves with that amount of combos. Too powerful. People said the same thing. I will never forget. We launched in January of 2021, and then 4 months later, we went, or was it 7 months later? It was that first year. We went to Balance Patch, this gaming cafe in Boston that is owned and managed by actually a personal friend. And they did a little event for us. And one of the top players who was there and did like a little exhibition match of Tough Love Arena for us on their stream. Who was it? I'm blanking on his name right now. I know him, he's a good guy. It wasn't Lucky D. It was someone else. But he said to me, he was like, yeah, cool game. I like how you gave the Rekka character Dulcim normals and a DP. Very, very fun, very busted. And in that brief moment, it gave me pause. And I was like, uh-oh. Did I make a mistake? Did I not think through the combination of tools that some of these characters would have? Some of them, because a lot of them came from a flavorful place first, and then I tried to, fill in gaps. Sorry. Yeah. Just have to blow my nose. All that's to say, the point of that story, Noodle objectively has something that's already a powerful tool, a Rekka, that you can hit confirm. Combined with the powerful tool of having long range, combined with the powerful tool of having, really, I think, unquestionably the strongest reversal in the game. And Noodle sucks, so I think it's fine. A meter penalty to RC Lemon to nerf the pressure it gives. I disagree in a game where the mix is as light as this, because it does get him in the same way that a heavy tackle RC gets you in. But if you block it, sometimes you can still anti-air. If you're right, you can teleport out of the jump. And he doesn't accomplish much. It's not the same as a game where you can, Gunflame, YRC, run behind it, and then initiate a four-way mix. Palm, for the most part, is just free chip on every character, which might just be because I'm not that good, but still feels oppressive. This is also wonderful. I would be enchanted if this is the same person who pointed out the rice thing, because they're recognizing something very intentional, which is that Palm is safe and free value. It's meant to be the brain dead, decent option. The only problem with Palm is the opportunity cost, because if you actually hit and you'd done heavy again, you would get way more reward than just Palm. And I think that's really critical to the meat's design. It was very intentional to give them that safe option that I very much tell beginners about when we do events. Just do punch palm, punch palm, punch palm. But then as a player, you can grow, and as you get more comfortable trying to hit confirm, or at least punish confirm, or when you want to spend RC, just do it RC, see if it worked. I'm very happy with that. I'm very happy with that, how that turned out on the flagship character of the game. That was very intentional. So I love that this player is identifying that this seems strong, and it is. It's supposed to seem strong. And I'm excited for the next revelation that they'll almost certainly have, which is the opportunity cost. This is also a common issue with players, not necessarily beginners, but just making it clear what the parry timing even is. It's bigger than it's been for a while. I think people just don't realize. I think people are just doing it too early. They're doing it predictively when it's meant to be done reactively. Yeah, it's 8 active, but it starts on frame 1. It's once you see the muscles, it's too late, which maybe isn't intuitive. Oops. Because it used to be more of a Marth parry, where I'm pretty sure Marth works this way. It's not active on frame 1, but it has a big active window in the middle to try and catch things. But then it just didn't really do a lot. It was a whole process. Parries have changed a lot, both beef and onion, over the years. Really, my big takeaway from this is that I'm never going to design a parry move ever again. Honestly, I think that they're just, except for one of the characters in the new game already has a parry super. But aside from that, relying on a parry for your core defensive mechanic was, I think, a design mistake. See, focus attacks, which I love because I'm a 09er scrub who grew up on spamming focus. Level 2 focus dash, confirm if it hit. See, focus does something if you guessed wrong. It does something if you whiffed. If they didn't press a button, you get an attack. That's the problem with parries. And I must admit that beef alone is the honored one. Pork is bounced. Pork is super fun. I agree. Makes Spike ground bounce. Interesting. I would nerf his jump ability because if he jumps while you're jumping, he always wins. However, he doesn't have these XP air characters. I would give him an extra range move. I appreciate the feedback, but this is very critical to his design. Because without jump, the meat anti-airs, like every character is meant to have like their one brain dead anti-air. Or at least, you know, the left half of the cast, the easier 2/3. Rice has SWAT, Noodle has Frenzy, the meats have jump. And even the spices like 5L is a very reliable anti-air. It's got a good box. Make his command grab faster to start, but maybe more punishing to miss to bounce this out. It is incredibly punishing if you know how to punish it. But this is very intentional. It's intentionally supposed to be reactable at range, but you can do it at point blank. The hitbox extension on the one punch is really weird and lets you get punished for things that visually do not make sense. I understand if that looks visually a little bit weird, and I would claim that like it's not that much of an extension. It's not extending where his body isn't, because he does withdraw his arm, and in that process, his arm is still out there. It's not like a sudden phantom hurtbox or something. But it is critical for footsies. If you don't have an extended hurt box and you've got this nice big long punch button, like it's just oppressive. Kerbo says, Paul, on my end your audio sounds a bit weird. You sound bass boosted. Oh, it's crackling. Well, that's not good. This for the music? It seems good now? He's a bass to boost it. Thank you, table. I don't know what to do to fix it, so I'll just keep my eyes on chat. Let me know if it gets like really bad again. And then I can start unplugging things and replugging them in. Worst character really needs buffs. Disagree. Space Chop should be a bit more viable against Spices. Spices have already high damage characters. You get a big punish off of improperly Space Chop. I potentially agree. People brought up, I think in the last day of the game, the idea of removing Sweet Punish and going back to the Flick Roundhouse Punish. And I'm open to that. I didn't include it in, you know, the state of the game part, because I don't think it's like a critical balance issue, but yes. I hear you. When you give the feedback in the future, please be conscious. I can't tell if this is suggesting a ranger buff, or a buff or a nerf. I don't know if you want me to increase or decrease the range. Buff Caber Toss. Here we go. More meter gain would help smooth out the bumps in his game plan. Interesting. If possible, Caber granting meter build even when teched would be that is saucy buff for Pork. But more meter on landing chop would still go a long ways too. That is a very interesting suggestion. I didn't really go in and have like different moves gain different amount of meter on block or even for the attacker. Like you gain a fixed amount if just a hit connects, if a hit is blocked, if you blocked attack, and then if you actually take damage, then you gain meter relative to the damage. So this way, if you're like stuck in a really long combo, you don't instantly hit full bar, but it also ensures that if you get just hit by like 3 really big hits, you'll have enough meter for a rejection. Okay, resuming stream. So, what are we talking about? Yes, Pork has comparatively low meter gain because his combos just have less hits. I mean, him and Beef are the same way, but he doesn't have Lemon. That gains you meter without being in a, you know, aggressive situation. Similarly, why Spices have high meter gain? It's because they just do more hits. Meter gain strictly correlates with number of hits in a combo. for the attacker at least. And for blockers, but not for people actually in a combo taking damage. Parry also gains a buttload of meter. Yeah, good catch, you said. So that is why that's happening. Now, excuse me, there are specific moves that I have modified the meter gain because they're like multi-hit. And it was done when Frenzy gained like a full bar. Or Buzzsaw or something else. Just because it was a multi-hit, it gained a bunch of meter. But Pork is a man of just single hits, and I don't think there's many cases where I compensate by having a move like gain more meter just to make up for the fact that it's unusual, outside of something like Parry, where it's like very clearly like big, boom, big reward. So that's something I'd be open to. I think that would be fair and fitting to boost the meter on some of these bigger attacks, like Chop, Caber. I mean, yeah, like, 'cause normal throw gains a bunch of meter. SWAT's already multi-hit. I don't know how much meter it gains off the top of my head. Carbs have similar amounts of hits, but I think the carbs, a lot of those are multi-hits that account for that and gain less meter. Let me see if I include that information in here. I do not, because this table is already like getting way too big. But I do have it on the back end. Cool. Good food for thought. So my takeaway so far, in terms of interesting notes, is check out the hurt box when carbs are jumping. Sweep versus chop, and pork meter gain in general. Let's keep going. Let's get to the Q&A. So, Onion, how strong? Strong. Fun. Good. Mashing feels too rewarding. So this is someone who at least plays a little bit, because God, I've seen new players so many times at these events pick Onion because they look cool, and then just get beaten to death because they got little T-Rex arms. So mashing is rewarding once you're close, but that's okay, it's supposed to be. I buff his counter because the timing is too hard to use. Again, I think this is more just like a misunderstanding, and I could also do more in the tutorials to explain this. Make Hopkick knock down if not in a juggle. That's an interesting suggestion, but I'm not sure what your reasoning is. It is very intentional that you can like do a hop kick in neutral, maybe try to, fade something, and then RC it into a full combo. So that makes me not want to have it knocked down. No much damage. They just get comboed out of the game. Onion being outranged by everyone other than Garlic limits the interactions I can take to get to advantage, but Cackle helps with that. Interesting. A little less damage. Would be funny if Long Drunk crossed up. That would be funny. I've experimented with cross-ups a few times. I think the problem is just that, like, the anti-airs weren't designed to handle them. And you don't have the Hail Mary option of, like, jump up and air to air. So if someone like gets in your face and then just starts like spamming cross-ups back and forth. This was in a branch where I tried this out. It was in, one character had it in April Fool's like 2 years ago. I think it was Beef. And then I started actually building it out to try it out. But I had these sorts of like weird areas for abuse. Now that said, like maybe for this move, uniquely that could work. It also has longer startup. I think making all jumps cross up would be a mistake. That's the conclusion I came to, but maybe this one would be alright. Added to the pile of interesting suggestions. Maybe Hop Kick already goes plenty far. Onion is tolerably dominant. Slight reduction in meter gain could be an agreeable change. I don't disagree. I'm not compelled to make the change, but I don't disagree. Garlic is strong. and Garlic is super fun. Make it easier to combo. This person just needs to learn the super easy brain dead mashing friendly combo of if you get a roundhouse, just spam dash into teleport. Real easy. Not the best, but you can convert anywhere on screen. Garlic is a goofy gal. Something to give Garlic more reliable mid-screen pressure. No! Garlic has a lot of mid-screen pressure. Some of it's fake. But the dash is oppressive. Plays buff, totally not biased. Ooh, okay. Paragraph time. This is the only character that I don't get as a fighting game beginner. This character makes the beginner road so difficult. The fact that the character cancels his movements, skips neutral, has such a fast throw. Me being 2 months into this game and seeing my stats, and this is by far the character I lose the most versus. Also, very skillful players use this character and they change to other character to give me a chance. That's fine and wholesome. But seeing Garlic as their main, it just makes it so hard for a newcomer to fighting games. Excuse me. That is... Chat, be kind. I'm sure the throw feels fast because it's coming out of the dash and stuff. Like, I agree with Junie. I think this is fair. I think this is 100% fair. I kind of intended them to not be very gettable to play Garlic. They're supposed to be the theoretically highest skill ceiling character. And they are annoying. I do understand that someone new could struggle with teleport. And so the only thing is, like, I'd want to give the advice. It's like, do I make tutorials for matchups? Because I tell you how to use Garlic, but should I add tutorials to tell you how to fight Garlic? Because really, my advice that I give to people at events is just block the teleport, and now it's your turn. And if you messed up and they caught you, it's like this much damage. So he is annoying. She's annoying, and she's made to be... I can understand that she's demoralizing, especially from a movement standpoint. Because if you let the opponent just zip around with impunity, because you're not punishing or you're not challenging at the right distances, so they feel emboldened to just go nuts, then you get stuck in a mindset of like, I have to react, and then you've already lost. So it's interesting. I appreciate this comment. I don't know what to say beyond all this stuff I already said. But thank you. A very generous interpretation that the texture is bugged so his bandana doesn't appear. No, we just haven't drawn it yet, but it is coming. Garlic is Hellspawn. Let the devil be. Is this the same person that said beef is the honored one? Amazing. What about Celia appeal to you? That it is unblocked on school computers. Which school computers are you on? Free, simplicity, and having RCs. Glad to see that. The art, I agree. Art's very good. No PlayStation Plus required. Free to play indie. Striking gameplay. It's the only in-depth fighting game available on school Chromebooks. Well, we're working on that. Free browser games appeal to my flash game nostalgia. Here. And what keeps you playing TLA? Modding. Ease of access. The urge to get to better. Community and a pact I signed with the Dark TLA gods. There's a surprising degree of complexity to the game. I find simplified controls compared to many fighting games to be very intuitive. The difficulty comes from the fighting, not from input execution. I'm very glad to hear that. Thank you. Very much the intent. The sense of improvement as I try to see no guides. Improving, pressing buttons. I stayed because I love fighting games. TLA was very accessible to me. But now I can see the community is very welcoming and helps me grow. Give yourself a pat on the back, stream chat. The high skill ceiling and new features I kept stumbling upon convinced me to keep learning new things about the game. I've never thought about that and that experience as someone, like, you're opening a game up for the first time and How many times do you boot up TLA before you discovered the slide puzzle? Our true killer feature. And there's a lot of stuff packed in there. There's a lot of stuff. Me and my mate have kept it a secret, so it stays that way. Very nice. Focus on fundamentals is satisfying. What upcoming event are you looking forward to? Arcade mode and reworking CPU. Yeah, that needs to happen. When are we getting the Shiggy voice pack, Paul? Ooh. Maybe we can talk about that. Cryptic Carb. Hope they'll be able to play ranked more often. Combo book thing? Combo breaker? I don't know. The Great Pork Buff of May 2024. Manifest your dreams. Have you shared TLA with your friends? They like losing to me. Those are the best friends. Keep those friends. Didn't stick with it. Tried it. A friend recommended it to me. Garlic Top 1, baby! And other thoughts? No. Well, right now the game isn't that popular, but if you advertise the right demographic, it could be very popular. You're right. I've done no advertising. I think it could have more reach than it currently does. But unfortunately, advertising costs money, and it's not going to turn back into money because TLA doesn't make me any money. Which is why I haven't done it yet. But I appreciate this. I simultaneously know how much bigger we could be, but I'm also so proud and happy with how big we are, given the fact that I did no paid advertising. That it was word of mouth. But the next game, I'm definitely gonna be thinking about this more. A successful casual rank in Halo 2. I don't know what they're talking about, and I played Halo 2. Yeah, the CPU sucks. This game is so cool. Thank you for making it. Rejection is kind of useless. No, it's good. It is a sometimes food. A treat. Yeah, the CPU sucks. It sucks bad. It sucks bad. I am well aware of it. It's embarrassing. So, that concludes the monthly survey. Now we shall move on to the Q&A. Also, how's the fuzz? How's the audio? Oh yeah, no, early on, like Panda Global did like 8 videos on us. I feel like everyone on their team made like 1 video, and then one person, I can't remember if it was Punk or Hook Gang God, made like 5 videos. Of just like one playing against Justin Wong or one playing against some other top player. Jam Cross did the Jam Cup. Sajam did a first day impression that a third of it is like bad netcode. And then we've been in Will Kill a few times. There was the Castle Super Beast promo, which was really awesome because I used to be a really close follower of Two Best Friends. And yeah, all that stuff that was like the first 3 months was huge. It was, and of course, I can't forget our boy Gecko Squirrel with Tough Love Arena at toughlovearena.com. Yeah, that stuff was all amazing. I never would have expected it. I'm gonna make sure to really earn it next time. Not Ian says that Sajam Fit is what introduced me to the game. I'm glad you stuck around. It was so painful to watch that video on like day 3 after launch. seeing some positive things and seeing him enjoy some parts, and then like seeing the cruft and the bugs, because they were so, oh my god, I didn't realize this. I was talking to someone about it the other day. Look at this. We release on January 1st. On day 1, I pushed 6 patches. On day 2, I push 8 patches. On day 3, I push 8 patches. On day 4, 7 patches. It was moving fast the first couple days, because a lot of these are just like bug, bug, bug. I was taking everything, like, I barely slept that first like week. Yeah, that was the beta. This is the beta. That was the beta. I had like some very early alpha playtesting, and then no one touched the game for a year because of lockdown. And then we released. Gonna be much more aggressive with closed testing on the new game. I'm actually really excited about doing test streams where if you join the dev stream, if you join the dev stream, I'll give you a link that works for a limited period of time, and we can play together, and you can try out the game. And then at the end of the stream, I will turn it off, and you can't play anymore. That's something I'm really excited to try and do. You can try, Shiggy. Cool. Blah, 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 blah. Let's go into the big screen. So starting now, I will be answering questions. So if you asked something earlier, please just repost it. I'm not going to scroll back up in chat. And yeah, we'll do this until we run out of questions or until I have to call it quits because I'm tired. Kerbo asks, Paulo, can you add punishment training? So yeah, I think punishment, specifically training, would be like could be a good exercise. I guess it would be like, maybe it would just be one mode called punishment training. You get to pick your character, and then you'll go through like 10 trials of the top 10, most common or punishable or spammable moves, and it will just verify that you put them into hit stun. Something like that could work. Yeah. Hitaka says, I have questions. Go for it, Hitaka. I will say questions about the new game. I'll answer the slide puzzle one. Questions about the new game, I will answer after I stop recording. So for now, I'm still just keeping these streams to be mostly Tough Love Arena on the Tough Love Arena YouTube channel. So I'd be down to talk a little bit more about the new game after, but we'll get through the TLA stuff first, and then I'll close it up. Paul, Shy Ninja asks, Paul, are you loving the new noodle? You know I am. Junie asks, Paul, will slide puzzles return to the new tag game? Probably not. Like, I added them to TLA because we needed something to do while queuing, whereas now I'm not going to release a queue without the ability to do something while you're queuing. Like, now that I've done it once and with a better engine, I know it'll be a lot easier to implement the training room while you wait. So hopefully slide puzzle won't be necessary. And then as an Easter egg, maybe that's a fun thing exclusive to TLA. Esid asks, any thoughts about April Fool's characters and the process this year? It was a ton of fun letting other people do it. Let's be super clear. April Fool's as it existed in 2021 through 3 will never happen again. looking back, and the more I think about development as an exercise in prioritizing and opportunity cost, I do think it's important to do fun things and cute things and silly things, but April Fools really got away from me. The juice wasn't worth the squeeze. If I had just like not done those 3 years of April Fools, we would have arcade mode by now, because it just represented so much development time sunk into something that then just got deleted a month later. It was very gratifying. I don't regret it, and I did get to use it as like, a testing ground for new changes. I tried to like make it, more than just a joke, but that's never coming back. I won't do it with the new game. Not like that. It's just not sustainable. It's not the best use of my time when I could be implementing features that people really need. It's all about the context. Like, I'd say the first years of April Fools, when it's really just like some skin stuff and like Gunyan, like, yeah, that was no big deal. But when I'm trying to like make 6 brand new characters and design an Onion install, again, there's good side effects, there's good benefits to these, like introducing things for modders. But I'm not going to do it again. So already just being able to do something instead of nothing was a tremendous success, and I was super happy that people were willing to step up to the plate and put in a bunch of volunteer work to make these cute little creatures that would be played for a week. So I want to lay that as a framework of almost like I have very low. This sounds bad. I have low standards for the event. Like I'm happy just having the event, and I actually really like the part where also, I know this is volunteer work, it takes time to make these mod characters, but these are people who are really passionate about making mod characters, and they're excited to be able to share something with the community. So as a way of almost giving back and recognizing and having a chance to put these 6 people on a little pedestal for a week and say, check out the cool things these people made, I think that's amazing. I would love to do that stuff rather than just 6 more characters from Paul, because we got to see stuff I never would have done. Like that super messed up, it was Rice, right? That Grump played with the backwards lemon crap. That was insane. Oh my gosh. The saute, the beef having like C4 planted in the ground. It was cool. It was really cool. And I thought it was a tremendous fun and tremendous success. My main takeaways looking back is like I could have done so much more to support them, to be involved in the process. The timing was uniquely bad. I had a big work deadline, and I was also out of town for a convention. It just got real hectic, and I needed to do a bunch of last minute work to support them or add combo trials, all that other stuff. So I would love to do it again, assuming time permitting. It was still a non-zero amount of work for me to maintain and upkeep, but I think if people are chipping in and we're making it this like larger community event, then the juice is worth the squeeze. Also, to put it another way, the process this year was bad, but I don't think that the idea is bad. I think there's a lot I could do to improve the process. Shiggy says, thoughts on Caber being techable or something? Teching a Caber throw isn't very beginner friendly, right? Other games, that isn't how it works. I don't actually need it to be untechable, but different or beneficial for pork. That question makes me yawn. No, I'm joking. Yes, the one-to-one parallels aren't there with other games, and ultimately it's because we don't have up. We don't have up. That's the problem. We don't have up. So if you read Zangief's throw, you have a trivial execution way to avoid it and punish it. You hold up. We tried that with walking forward. Anyone who remembers that, it was weird. It was unintuitive. Sometimes you didn't understand why your throw wasn't working, as your arms just phased through the opponent's body as they were, walking you down. I was trying to recapture it with Walk Forward, but it just had too many caveats. It added too much weirdness. There were all these rough edges. So right now, the combination of like, yes, you can escape it with a jump input, which you can buffer as a forward S, or you can tech it, is to me necessary, or else Caber becomes too strong. It becomes too much of an execution check of like, I know the Caber's happening. Can I do the wake up move? Because I'm running a game that's not in a professional engine, being run in a single thread by JavaScript by a browser that maybe is going to take away the process for like half a second, and then it's going to try and catch up. It's a nightmare. It's a nightmare of. I'm grateful every day that the game freaking works at all. So that's why we have a generous 5-frame input buffer, and that's why and why I put off text for the longest time and tried all these other methods that wouldn't even require like any execution. But having this pretty permissive way to escape is, to me, necessary. It's just necessary. But I think it's unique to this game and its weird lack of up. I think in any other game, you would make it untechable. And in my new game, first character already has a command grab. It's a running command grab, and I'm planning to make it untechable because you can jump. So, although even actually in that game you can set up like you can essentially do soup mates with your assist. So maybe I still need to make that techable. We haven't gotten to that part yet. Anyways, moving on. What if chess puzzles? I like chess puzzles. I'm not very good at chess, but I like doing chess puzzles. I mean, so many kids play the game. I should add, like, algebra homework. That's what you do. If you want to play ranked, you have to factor this equation. I think that would be fun. I'm a big math nerd. I was convinced I was going to become a mathematician for a living before I discovered, that computers existed. So maybe I'm not the person to talk to about that. What noodle plus one noodle equals 6? What does noodle equal? 2? Joro asks, Paul, can we buff onion damage? I'm sick of not two-touching when my reward off throw sucks. I am assuming that's a joke, and I will not respond. Doomrookie says, I did not realize I should be playing slide puzzles while queuing instead of watching Brainrot YouTube shorts. Don't get me started on the Brainrot YouTube shorts. Esid asks, where's my Lemon Hoarder 2? Oh, crap. Did we not do that? DM me. DM me on Discord about it, Esid. I remember that. DM me. Hitaka asks for modding. Do you have any plans for allowing us to make sprites change directions? It's a feature I've wanted for a while now. Change direction how? Because you have mirroring. That's already there. But if you mean rotating, that's a weird. I put the emphasis on the wrong syllable. If you mean rotating, that's not doable in the way that my engine is written right now. So it's not impossible, but it is a lift. Giant Impact asks, Paul, have you any ideas or considerations for a rainbow edition of TLA? Now, when you say a rainbow edition, I'm very curious what that means to you or to other people in the audience nowadays. Because I hear that and I think of Street Fighter II Koryu, aka Rainbow, which was a hacked mod copy at a time when Championship Edition cabinets were basically out of print. And some people started copying the board, and then once they were already copying the board, they're like, why not also, fuck around in there? So to me, what a rainbow represents to players, though, is this, like, extension of a what if. What if this character had this crazy thing? And to me, that's basically April Fools. I realize a lot of the April Fools are, like, different takes on a character, but sometimes, I guess that's the difference. April Fools, I try to do kind of a side grade, even if it's a little extreme. Whereas Koryu would be the what if Beef's uppercut shoots 5 fireballs. I'm not personally interested in a Koryu mode. I definitely see the appeal. I think when I was maybe younger, I thought it was much cooler. But as a competitive game, they're not particularly interesting. The problem with the logic of like never nerf, always buff is you can eventually get to this game state where, yeah, every character is viable, equally viable, because they all just like one touch. And then it's like, is that a fun game to play? And that's what Koryu turns into from what I've seen, or from what I remember doing certain setups in where you just like keep doing light DP and it spawns these like 5 slow moving Hadogans. And if it's a character that can't out spam you, like they just slowly die. It's funny, but the entertainment drops off so hard and so fast, it doesn't seem like a worthwhile investment. But if people want to make a rainbow version and make some messed up mods, I could consider that for like next year's April Fools, or I could consider what's the term? Endorsing it. But I would leave that to the fans. Sam CC asks, when is the next online tournament? I'd love to stream it, advertising the game on TikTok. So we have a weekly every Friday called Tough Love Gauntlet, hosted by our friend Shiggy in chat. I try to advertise these in the little news ticker. When you go to Tough Love Arena, you should see this little thing most of the time, unless there's no news. In the top, news. The state of the game stream is on right now. Oh, you can't see this because I'm not sharing my screen. Apologies. So I advertise events up here, tournaments, but we also have a dedicated events page. If you go to about.toughlovearena.com, filter on tournaments. This is what we currently have in the system, but Shiggy just sent me the links for like the next 20 TLGs. I just need to add them here. So this is here. This gives you the time. You can add a GCal or whatever is convenient for you. And the image tries to show like, this is the stream if there is one. So these are Shiggy. This is me. This is offline. Check it out. Back over to Cam. Shy Ninja asks, are the same modders going to be used for next year's AF? I cannot say yes or no. Again, I liked this year's AF. I think there's things we could do to improve. But I don't know where me or the game is going to be in 11 months. So I'm not going to commit to anything at this point. I'm planning to re-explore this idea come January and think, okay, what are we going to do? Do we do another AF? If so, what are the modders who did it last year? What's their current interest level? Maybe they've moved on. Maybe they don't play TLA anymore. Lots of stuff can happen. So way too early to say. People responding to the tech conversation. Something like that. I think it'd be broken. That's good. I love Sword Gal. Would the walk forward causing teching solve the issue of weird animations? That's an interesting point, Isid. So rather than walking forward, just like phasing through the throw, what if it just went into a tech? I would guess the problem there is then it gets like no, the problem there is you could do OSs, right? Part of the advantage of walking throw being throw invuln is it was only invuln while you continued to walk throw. So if you just like tapped forward and you were holding forward for the first 2 frames of the throw's active frames, but then you let go or pressed a button, assuming your button wasn't throw invuln, which most of them were, then you would get hit by the latter active frames. But if you could just be like micro tapping forward in a block string and just guess and it happens to land on like the throw active frame, and then you tech out, I'd worry about something like that. Or like do forward and then delay pressing a button, and that will like beat throw, and if they do nothing, then you'll press a button and take your turn. I think there could be some OS abuse. And it also would still have the issue of like, why did I tech that? I didn't realize I was doing anything. Or I was pressing forward to try and mash, and then I teched. Does that mean mashing is teching? I think it's definitely better than the old system, but I don't think it's better than the current system. Logic tables CAPTCHA. King State says algebra homework rigged Q would go so hard. I hate math. Let's go math. Easton says kids play the game, therefore the Q now has Subway Surfer and Family Guy Cliff Thunder. Hitaka questions about next AF. So again, I won't say anything about next AF yet. It's way too early to say. Paul, can you check my DM before the end of the stream? 1 second. Where's the DM at? Which DM? Help me out, Chiggy. Be more specific. Or send it again. Is it this like Reddit thing? Do you want me to look at this on stream? Also, where did OBS go? Okay. So yeah, there's just this comment on. Crap. Sorry. Where did OBS go? There you are. Oh, that is interesting. Yeah, it's on the Tekken subreddit. Someone said, so do y'all play other fight games? Tekken's got me really interested. This person said Killer Instinct. Also playing a bit of TLA. Totally free. Cool and simple. Feels like an evolution of footsies. Nice. That's what we're looking for. Thank you. I am not too cool to admit that for a while I would like name search. I would search for Tough Love Arena on Reddit or on other sites and see, be like, are people talking about it? I haven't done it in a long while though. Cool. Thank you. Always nice to see. Thank you to whoever Zara Patas is for giving us the rec, giving us the call out. Catching up on chat. Junie says, we love the little news tab. Thank you. I think it's a great idea. I think it's really important, and I'm going to do it in every game I ever make for the rest of my life, is have a way to surface live information to people who are playing. I don't think it looks very good. I wish I styled it more interestingly, but it works. Catching up, it looks like mostly chat talking to themselves. Table says Paul should add a custom combo system and call it going Riz mode. King Say says, is there any way to access the older April Fool's versions of the characters, like pre-2024? Yes. I'll show this on stream. So I guess the URLs are listed somewhere, like in the Discord, but I guess they're not advertised, but you can guess them. We have April Fool's 2024.toughlovearena.com, which you can go in. You can play the game offline, and also you can go into, this is what we talked about in the beginning of the state of the game, you go in and actually see the mod files. If you go to 2023, then you can play the game offline. And there isn't any like commenting here because I just did it. Is this? Oh yeah. See, like onion with the install. But yeah, you can play it and you can look at the mod files. These won't match 1-to-1 because it's an earlier version of the engine. This is over a year old. But you can see how they work. And I think we have this for all the years. So 2022. We don't have 2020. Is that just like April Fools? Yeah. So no year on the first one. Maybe I'll just rename that to being 2021. So it's easier to find. These are pre-modding mode, so you can't see how the characters work. But, oh yeah, the old loading display. That would go there because I didn't have a little spinning screen. And we can go, oh, this takes me back. Oh man. Oof, I forgot about this. You can fire off the gunyon. Anyways. Yeah. So again, that's April Fool's year.toughlovearena.com. Not Yin asks Paul, can you help with my multivariable calculus? No. I'm sorry. I don't remember enough. Multivariable, Jesus. I think that's... Is that Calc 3 or even beyond that? Because I stopped at Calc 3. I spent my freshman year of college not sure if I was going to math major. I took Calc 3 and I took number theory, which was very interesting, but very hard. I did awful in it, but I loved it. And then decided to go all in on coding, and I really regret not taking linear algebra. I should have taken linear algebra. It's really important to game graphics. Easton says thoughts on Akuma's redesign. I don't know about their gameplay, but as far as visually, I'm glad that they don't have the super symmetric line main thing. My issue with Street Fighter V is that the hair coming out of every point of the head all looked the same. It's just like the same red thing copy pasted, and that looked so unnatural to me. Now he's just very hairy dude, but like it looks like beard hair versus head hair. But I've just seen like still images because me and someone else were like arguing about the lion mane a week ago. I haven't seen any gameplay or anything else. Hitaka says, for modded, Paul, do you plan on adding grounded stuff similar to Tekken? I want to make it so I can hit my opponents while they're down. No. Hard knockdown is a safe space. Doom Murky says, would it be possible to have raw chop and chop from palm do separate moves with separate block advantage? Recently discovered that's actually the case for garlic trip and dash trip. That's not true. Raw trip and dash trip should be the same frame advantage on hit and block. It might come out a little differently if they're like hitting meaty, like if you're doing the garlic setup of like throw into dash trip. But they should definitely have the same numbers. I'd be very surprised and disappointed in myself if they were different. And that's the reason I'm not going to do it for chop. I think it's weird to have the same animation behave differently. That's the only problem. Kerbo says, Paul, do you plan on reading modding requests and adding that stuff? Someday, Kerbo. Someday. Yeah, we have all these channels, and they were really useful for like the first year when I was on TLA 100% full time. But now that TLA has really been moved to a much less often thing, like I just don't have time to look through the Discord. Maybe I should just start like pruning some of the channels. I'm not sure. But someday I'd love to get to them. Hitaka says, also, can you make freeze time true? Because coincidentally, lots of modders complain that I have cutscene combos. I'm not sure what freeze time true would do. I'm confused. Okay, some joke questions. Stuff about toilets. People admiring the old screen that I just had up a couple minutes ago. You can't just anyways after flashing me with onion turning into a gun. Sorry, Maritimer. The URL's there. You can go check them out. Paul, please add "don't kill" or something similar. Isn't that already in the game? Isn't that already in the game under the name like "cannot kill"? Because I think I do that on Spike, don't I? Jump. Where's the hitbox on jump? Do. Oh. You can kill with that move. Huh. I see this in the current, like I'm still scrolled up in the chat, but I see Paul Yeet Dick says, Paul, how many modding changes do you think you've added but you haven't? It just seems so obvious to me because it was like one of the first things I added in the new game. It shouldn't be hard. That is a very reasonable modding request that I can tell would have a lot of value. It's pure aesthetics, but still a lot of value. Bug me about that during next dev stream. That should be like 10 minutes. Number theory, Shiggy says, number theory and discrete math are my faves. Ooh, I don't know discrete math. I don't know what that's about. Talking about math. Doomrookie talking about scaling for trip in modding. Sorry for the confusion. Got it. Cool. Hard Knock isn't a safe space, I swear. Freeze the timer. Yeah. How would that work? Because the timer isn't actually stateful. I'm not actually keeping track of a clock variable anywhere. What I'm doing is I'm keeping track of the total number of game ticks, and I'm keeping track of the fact that it was started as a 60-second game, and then the clock is just recomputed every frame of what it should be at, of 60 minus number of frames divided by 60. So trying to put a pause in there, I guess I would implement as like adding to game state that you would have like additional time. And if you're in a move that freezes timer, you just increment additional time. And then when it's doing the math on what the clock actually is, it will just factor that into the equation. Huh. Theoretically possible. Anyways, yeah. Yeah. Sorry, lost in thought. Let me know. I could work on that one. Shiggy says, Paul, if you do prune, just close adding messages so folks can read them? I don't understand that question at all, Shiggy. I'm sorry. If you can rephrase that. If you do prune, just close adding messages. Oh, prune the Discord channels. Yes. Agreed. Yes, that makes sense. Just make them read only, right? Cool. Archive channels. Spike can kill. Yeah, everyone correcting me. You could def kill on Spike. Lol. Whoops. Discrete math logic. Shortest distance between all capitals in USA. Ooh, that sounds like a computer science problem. An algorithm. Squid Slash says, me when I make a mod that freezes the timer by just existing. Why is what like that? Are you talking about the clock? Why is the clock like that? To me, that is the most obvious way. What you learn, I'd say one of my most important lessons is, as much as possible, you don't want to duplicate information. And to me, we already know what frame tick we're on. We need to keep track of that. That's used for randomness. That's used for determining who wins on a simultaneous tech. It's used to, like, keep track of stuff when rolling back. It's just there. We already have an ID on each frame starting at 0. So if we were counting the clock, it's just duplicating that information. And now, if we want to change one of them, but we don't update the other, we might get confused because we were kind of expecting them to be the same. More generally, when you talk about like database design in computer science, you call this normalization. Essentially, the deduplicating of data, having a single source of truth. This is where you get the patterns where, lots of burps from drinking soda. In the classic, computer science 101 example, it's like, okay, I'm going to make a database to represent all the people in my family. And so I have a people table, and I have a jobs table, and the people table points to the jobs table. And I have like a relationship table that's many to many. And so I have like, rather than trying to guess if Paul's a sister or something, anyway, this is falling apart. This is not a good explanation. But the point is that we call normalized. And when you talk about denormalization, it's usually in the context of efficiency. Because if you have a single source of truth for something, which is common in a heavily sharded, heavily distributed database, it can take a long time to actually construct a user's account because you have to read like 20 different tables. Because you have to ask one for the user's name, and one for the user's address, and one for the user's credit card, and it just takes longer than asking one place. So you will go out of your way to denormalize the data, to duplicate it, and just essentially make a summary copy that you can fetch really quickly, knowing that that could go out of date. That summary copy, now that you have it existing in a second place, could disagree with the credit card table. So that's why the clock is derived. It doesn't gain anything by having additional state. And so, as I mentioned before, if I added freezing clock, to me, the most obvious way is not to now track it and then manually adjust it. It's to add a variable for amount of times that I've frozen the clock. And then from that unique information and the unique information of what frame we're on, we can derive what time it is. And it's like fast. Like, it's not like a programmatic, like, oh, now the game's less efficient. It's trivial. It's like 2 lines of code, and it takes a nanosecond. It makes sense, but in theory, could you mod to skip time or rewind the clock? Yeah, that's also something I like about. Well, so when you say rewind the clock, is it just increasing the number of time in the counter, or like rewinding the game? Um, yeah, like is then that gives you the. I mean, I would probably just surface it as a freeze time or freeze clock while this frame is going, or while this sequence is going. But then it would be trivial to like, yeah, add more time to the clock, remove some time from the clock. But I would keep it in this clock offset variable. That seems the cleanest to me. And then that's also nice because if you need to do logic on like, oh, you can't offset the clock into a negative number, you're not like doing that math every time you update the offset. The offset is just the total offset, and you just have to do that check one time as you're deriving the clock. I don't know if this is making any sense. Paul, are you implying full game rewind is possible? It's absolutely possible. That's what rollback is. Making that part of gameplay and have it be visually coherent is less possible. But the joke about coding is that anything is possible. I could make Age of Empires if I wanted to. It would take me 20 years, but anything is possible. Hitaka asks, Paul, can we get tech sequence ID? I don't know what you mean. Please elaborate. And then I think we're out of questions. If you asked a question earlier and I missed it as I was scrolling to catch up with chat, just repost it. But I'll figure out what they're talking about with tech seq ID, and then we're gonna kill this stream because it's been like, oh my god, almost 2 hours. I'm so tired. KerboKex says, Paul, what if you made modding open source and we could add our own features? Long term, I would love to open source the Total War Arena code base. I hesitate because one, I do want to make some money off of TLA while I can to just support the game, to help support me and have time to work on it. And open sourcing can hurt that. I mean, I'm already giving away free download versions, but like the small amount of upsell you get with Steam, like the costumes are, trivial to bootleg if it's open source. And I think my bigger concern is something I see a lot in like modding communities or fan communities where the scene splinters. And once it's open source, I fear not having control. It all sounds kind of selfish when I talk about it, so I'm embarrassed to. But also, by another perspective, me and Amy made this game. We're entitled to be as selfish as we want to be. So it's difficult for me to think out loud. But I do worry about if I open source it and then someone adds some killer feature that I maybe just like don't agree with. I don't think it belongs in the game, but a lot of people do. Then suddenly the community is split in two. Also, a problem with open sourcing it is even if it's open source, that doesn't mean it's going to run with networking. All the networking is strongly tied to the thing that I'm paying to run. So, and that's a large part of the game is the online play. Now, all of that is open source too. It's already open source. You can check it out. It's in the public GitHub repo. But if you made if I open sourced it and you made your own version of TLA, there's no easy way for you to then play that with your friend. So this sounds really depressing now. The zip bomb? Oh, just like malware. Yeah. So I've thought about it. I think I have this mindset of like I want to finish it and then open source it. I'm gonna have to. Yeah, this isn't going up on YouTube tomorrow. I'm gonna have to like find some time to. I already had to stitch 2 parts together because OBS crashed. Now I'm gonna edit out the dark stuff. Maritimer says, "Oh yeah, Paul, how do you approach making a game initially gain traction and form a player base right after you have made it? I'm currently on a team with a game they're trying to revive, and we're figuring out how to appeal to an audience of mostly very young people for a game that doesn't exactly fit that platform. And none of us are quite sure how to do anything with marketing the game and stuff." I wish I had advice. I was lucky. I was at the right time at the right place. And I made a decent product. But as we discussed earlier in the stream, like I was 100% carried by word of mouth. And the way I did it is I DM'd 6 FGC influencers on Twitter saying, "Here's my game. It's got rollback. It's in the browser. Please check it out and or retweet." I think like I made a tweet and then I tried to give it as low effort as possible. I was like, "Please retweet this." And I just sent it to them. And like 2 of them did. I forget which ones. And then... Oh, and I had an in. I think one of them was Ultra David, and I'd already contracted Ultra David as my lawyer. So I wasn't just like a total rando. But they retweeted it, and then more people retweeted it, and then Sonic Fox did the recording of Onion Combo on their phone, and then it blew the fuck up. And it was off into the races. And so the easy pro tip is, just get someone famous to, or subculture famous, to advertise it for you for free. Actionable advice, I would say just find people who are interested. If you can find, just even from your core or friends of friends, someone who are interested and really like the game, cater to them a bit, indulge them. You need to convert people. You need to have a force multiplier where you're not personally bringing every new person into the game. You need to have people doing that for you. So invest the attention up front, the care, and the, making sure that their concerns are taken care of, their bugs are fixed. Because if someone comes and you're like, "Hey, try my game," and they're like, "Yeah, okay, but this seems weird," and then you come back 2 days later and you're like, "That's fixed. Great feedback. Thank you for making this game better." Bam, they're invested. And then you turn those people into advocates. And then hopefully the machine just starts working on its own. But you do need to start somewhere. So whatever whiff you can get, troll around, if it's a Roblox fighting game, I think you said, either fighting game communities that intersect with people who would like play Roblox. I'm not sure what the demographic for that is. Or Roblox modding communities. I know, there's a lot of games of Roblox, right? So trying to find them on a forum, or forums don't exist anymore, on a Discord or subreddit that's about fighting games, networking with other people who are trying to make fighting games in Roblox, even though you might see them as your competition. It has only ever helped me to work with other developers or be nice to other developers or share each other's stuff. It's mutually beneficial. I think that's the advice. Good luck. I'm scared. I'm scared because I felt like I got so lucky with TLA, and now thankfully I got lucky once, so now I have the audience. So I have my simps like Joro in the chat, who are already thirsty for Sword Girl. So I do have a little bit of a install base already, and that's an immense privilege. I don't want to take for granted. But I'm also trying to like mentally prepare myself for what if I try and do that same influencer tweet and we don't blow up in the same way we did in 2021. You know, that was a novelty back then. That was still at a time when like all of the AAA games had shit netcode. And it was lockdown. And a lot of stuff was new. So we'll see. Simply email Panda Global, easy. Hitaka says, Paul, any plans on doing a modded lobby? I don't understand. Because we have lobbies that you can upload mods to? Rephrase the question, Hitaka. Please. Gecko Squirrel has been a great TLA shill. And so every time I've had a chance to interact with Gecko Squirrel, I've been extremely grateful. And I want, you know, he seems like a nice guy. And I was already watching his content. And of course I appreciate it. But I want to make him feel good. I want to make him feel rewarded for doing something so nice for me. And when you do that, someone's like, oh, that was appreciated. Well, that motivates me to do it more. If someone plays your game and then they fill out a feedback form and they feel like it just went into the ether, that might push them further away from the game. If you're going to ask them to invest, you need to reciprocate. You need to, even if it's just a gesture, even if it's just communication, tell them that like the 5 minutes you took to fill out the form and answer that and provide that nerf buff feedback that didn't make any sense. I looked at it. You watched me read it in real time. It mattered. Thank you. So, I think that about wraps it up. Thank you, everyone, for sticking around for a very long and intense Q&A. If you're watching this on YouTube, some stuff has been cut out because it was a little too saucy. All the more reason to tune into the regular streams. And yeah, thank you as always. It's a pleasure to be able to do this. It's a pleasure to work on the game. It's a privilege. I promise I'll try to get this camera fixed that's flickering. It's awful. And yeah. Thanks for stopping by. We'll be back for Dev Stream next Tuesday, and then we'll be at Combo Breaker. So hopefully see you there. Peace.